Good morning and welcome to Williams Dog Training Company. We're here this morning with Fred and Nikki, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today is Nikki's ability to understand and respond to her obedience commands, the corrections and motivations we give her while we are working with her, and the training equipment that we're using. Fred is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and he's going to keep the bulk of that leash folded neatly in his right hand, leaving his left hand free to give the correction. Correction that we give is a tug and let go to the training collar, which is the second piece of equipment that we're using. Nikki's been fitted with her own personal training collar, and we'll show you how to properly use those during your one-on-one lesson. As you can see, Nikki is seated on Fred's left, which is where all our obedience training is done. And the first command they'll demonstrate is heeling, which is proper walking on a leash. And Fred and Nikki take off doing that now. The command you want to use for this is Nikki heel, and then you start walking and she'll fall right in line on your left-hand side. And we've also gone ahead and incorporated our automatic sit into this, so anytime Fred stops his feet, Nikki will sit. There's an example there. Now it's important when you're heeling Nikki that she walks nicely at your pace without trying to pull ahead of you or lag behind. If she did attempt to pull ahead or lag behind, say no, give a tug and let go correction to her training collar, repeat your command to heel, and then start walking again. Now the next command they'll demonstrate is our stay command, which is a hand and voice command. Fred will use the open flat of his left palm an inch or so from Nikki's muzzle and the one-word command to stay. He walks out to the end of the training leash. Now this is a good exercise to practice to build up self-control and maturity in Nikki. You can start this one at about a minute's time and work your way up in increments until you get to about 3 minutes with her. Now as Fred returns back to Nikki, he walks all the way around her, providing an added distraction as he goes behind and right back to that left-hand side heel position. She holds that sit-stay throughout. He gives her some praise and then heels her right out of it. And he'll show you a little more of the heel sit and stay. There's that automatic sit again. And gives her the stay one more time and back out to the end of the training leash. Now this time he's going to give her a second to hold this position, and then he'll demonstrate our come or recall command instead of returning back to Nikki. He calls her in, and she gets up, comes in, sits right in front of him, and then the finish, he heels her right around the back of him and gets her right back to his left-hand side heel position, and she sits. He's going to demonstrate that recall one more time in a sit, gives her a stay out to the end of the training leash, gives her a second to hold it, and then he'll call her in using her name. She gets up, comes right on into him and sits in front. And then the finish, he heels her right around the back of him and right back to the left-hand side heel position, and she sits. Nicely done. That's a good time to remind you want to practice all your commands with Nikki about 15 to 20 minutes a day. This helps to keep the commands fresh in her mind, and you can practice inside or outside your home and then just start incorporating the commands into your daily routine with her. Next up is going to be our down commands. The first one will be down from a heel position. Fred will use the open flat of his left palm straight down to the ground and the one-word firm command to down. He then gives her a stay and walks back out to the end of the training leash. Now this is another great exercise to build up that self-control and maturity in Nikki. You can start practicing this one at about 3 minutes time and work your way up in increments until you get to about 5 minutes. Now as Fred returns back to Nikki, he's going to walk all the way around her just as he did on the sit stay and right back to that left-hand side heel position. She holds that down throughout. He gives her some praise and heels her right out of it. And he'll show you that down again when he comes back around. Now you see Nikki's doing very well, but if for any reason she does not respond to a command or she breaks one of her stays, it's always important to follow through. So the first word out of your mouth would be no, followed by a tug and let go correction to her training collar, and then you repeat the command you'd given her. Now there Fred gives her the down one more time, hand straight to the ground, one-word command to down, and then a stay, and walks back out to the end of that training leash. And this time he'll give her a second to hold it, and then he'll demonstrate that come or recall command right out of the down position. He calls her in, she gets her right up and comes into him and sits in front, and then the finish one more time right around the back of him and right back to that left hand side heel position, and she sits nicely. Alright, we'll give them a second to get lined up for our final command, which will be down from a distance. This will be our down from a distance. You're going to have her in a sit, give her a stay, walk out to the end of your training leash. And this is the only time we use our right hand to give the command. And Fred will drop Nikki into a down from the end of the training leash. Nicely done. He then returns back to her, once again walking all the way around and right back to that left-hand side heel position. Alright, we've demonstrated for you our basic obedience commands that we've been working on with Nikki while she's been here at school. It's been a pleasure working with Nikki, and we thank you again for choosing Williams Dog Training Company as your personal dog trainer.